Government now admits they turned off the Mar-a-Lago cameras at the request of the FBI out of concern for agent safety. Why would agents feel unsafe at Mar-a-Lago? That's curious. Why'd they turn off the recording? And why is that justification to protect agents, to turn off the cameras? Shouldn't they have the cameras on to protect them against people like me saying that they planted documents in those 25 minutes? Why did you have to go into Barron's bedroom, you FBI pervert? Why did you need to go into Melania's closet and take pictures of her underwear, freak shows? The FBI is now admitting, as they already have before many times, that they rigged the photos at Mar-a-Lago. We've seen this before, talked about it many times, but they do this slow drip process where every time we get a new filing, there's a new little hint. Like, oh, well, we did this, and oh, we did this, and oh, we took that out and put this in here. And we just recently learned that all the documents in the boxes were shifted around and that maybe cover sheets don't match what they said the thing was covering up. So they put a cover sheet on. It was supposed to be one document, and then the cover sheet actually doesn't match the thing that it's supposed to be matching because maybe it's shifted all over the place. So the evidence is totally tampered with. It is all disordered. You can't now reassemble chronologically when documents went into the box to say maybe Trump didn't touch the box before these documents were added to it. So there's a chronology problem. It's just a big mess. So what we see here is that Stephen Douglas has posted a couple of these photos. He's on X, and so we'll go through his post here in a second, giving us some clear examples as to why this is a problem. But we're going to read through what Jack Smith admitted in his filings. But I want to shout out Julie Kelly for calling our attention to this. She says, holy moly, special counsel Jack Smith just admitted that the FBI added cover sheets to the alleged classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago, and then they took photos for evidence. Now you're going to see a bunch of other people, ex-FBI and ex-whatever. They're, well, what do you think they're supposed to do? Take pictures of photos of classified documents and just share those photos around? No, we're not saying that at all. No, but we're saying that they should make it clear and obvious that if they're taking photos that are covered up with cover sheets, that we know that before they disseminate their propaganda pictures all over the place and tell us that's how the evidence was found, because it goes to the mens rea, the mental state of Donald Trump. They're charging him with a crime after all. Don't they need to prove what Trump knew in his mind, what was going on in his brain? Two things happen. You have a guilty act, which was the physical taking of the documents. Then you have the guilty mindset. He was taking these in violation of the law, which he knew, and he was trying to co-opt these for, I guess, some nefarious purpose, which we still don't know. They were rumoring that they were, I guess, selling secrets to the Saudis or something, but it's all been made up. Okay, they haven't given us any evidence of that. So here's what she says. Now, this confirms her report, which has been outstanding, from last month that the FBI doctored evidence to produce their little stunt photos that they then spread all over the media, which they did. She says, as part of the processing of the seized documents that were marked classified, the evidence recovery team photographed the documents with the appropriate cover sheets added by the FBI personnel that were then next to the box in which they were located. It says the photographs are attached as exhibits. Now she says, watch this shift. The FBI agents allegedly found loose classified cover sheets in a blue leather-bound box in Trump's office. So like the FBI brought their own cover sheets, and then they found Trump had a pile of other cover sheets. And then suddenly some of those cover sheets were actually attached to the classified documents. So here's the compare and contrast. It says entry photos were taken of the anteroom, Trump's office, both bathrooms. The filter team agents then discovered in the closet a blue-covered leather-bound box full of various papers, including newspapers, newspaper clippings, magazines, note cards, various sizes, presidential correspondence, empty folders, and loose cover sheets for classified information, as well as other documents that were in fact marked classified. Now, FBI 13, this other office, conducted the privilege review of this box with some brief assistance from FBI 5. 13 was careful to return all items to the box after reviewing them, but did not maintain the order of the items. Okay, thanks for admitting that. FBI found no potentially privileged materials in the box, and after FBI 13 placed all of the contents of the blue box back in the box, another photographer took photos of the blue box with the cover off. FBI 13 alerted the case team that she had found documents marked classified, and after she completed his or her privilege review, 2 case team agents, whatever. Now on June 20th, the government produced in classified discovery the initial placeholder sheets. Now they also tell us they reviewed the box and found numerous documents with classification markings, some of which had classification cover sheets already attached, as well as loose classification cover sheets. The case team agents seized the documents marked classified, as well as any other cover sheets already attached, and then segregated them. As they extracted the seized documents, they inserted placeholder sheets where they found them. So, all right, that's what Julie Kelly is reporting on. She says, as I reported last month, the FBI also brought the colored classified cover sheets to the raid under the guise of using them to substitute classified documents found within the Trump boxes. Instead, FBI agents attached the scary-looking sheets to various files, and they took photos. In the DOJ's opposition to Trump's special master lawsuit, Jay Brad attached the infamous photo, and then the photo got spread all over the place. And so that's from Julie Kelly. Now, what we see here from Stephen Douglas is the importance of why this photo matters. Now, they dumped it out on the floor. They took this photograph. It's almost too good to be true. And we remember this was spread everywhere. Remember, they dumped this on Washington Post. Look at these documents. And they look real heinous. They look, oh my gosh, look at all these red and yellow letters. Top secret, top secret, top secret. Now, you could imagine if this was just a cover sheet, you could say evidence cover sheet could be the big thing, right? You could have that in big, bold letters. Cover sheet, caution, evidence cover sheet, sensitive redacted documents, FBI cover sheet, right? FBI search team cover sheet. And you could cover them all up with white, or you could cover them all up with black. You could do whatever you wanted, but that would show you that you're covering it up. What they've done here is made us believe, in my opinion, when I first saw this, I thought, okay, that kind of looks bad. Because one of the defenses is that Trump didn't know that he was in possession of these because maybe somebody else put them in there. Somebody else packed the boxes. He had no intent, right? They were searching for documents. They said obstruction, remember? They're like, Trump was obstructing. He searched all over the place. He told us they found all the documents and he didn't give us the documents back. So Trump obstructed. If you say, well, wait a minute, you're searching through your boxes and you just skip over top secret, you skip over something that says top secret SCI, and then you, Trump lawyer, like what kind of an idiot are you? You flip through these and you say, I guess that's nothing big. So you sign a document saying we've done our search, our due diligence, and we haven't found anything. Well, you didn't see anything that looked like this ever because it didn't happen. Like none of this existed. The FBI made it that way. And then they said Trump's team obstructed. So what if these are not even generally classified documents, right? Or these are documents that look like spreadsheets or regular old clippings. Nobody even knew. It's just like throwaway stuff. They sensitized them up to make the obstruction charge look egregious. Clearly they obstructed because they just ignored these red cover sheets. Well, they didn't ignore them. They didn't exist. It was all fake. So what they could have done, right, would be something that looked like this. Here's a better idea, right? Because that's probably more what the sheets look like. They probably look like just dull manila with some text on it. Doesn't look anything like a very serious, scary thing. But the FBI then papered over it because that's what they do. And then they leaked it to the media to make it look bad. So they dumped the photos out. They opened the pages up. They doctored them with their fake cover sheets. You know, any juror who saw these photos or even had a hint of these photos or got the media coverage from these photos has clearly been prejudiced and biased. So hopefully they admit the truth when they get questioned during voir dire, if that ultimately happens. But it is ridiculous. They could have put FBI cover sheet, redacted cover sheet, big bold letters, could be in black, could be in FBI blue. But no, they wanted it to look bad. They designed it to look bad because it is rigged. And so we're going to now talk about Jack Smith and his corrupt filing. But before we jump into that, I want to tell you about other tool that I use to investigate corrupt prosecutors, including Merrick Garland. Take a look at this story I found about Attorney General Merrick Garland's whining, calling legitimate criticism against his office attacks on the DOJ. And with all the misinformation out there today, you may have missed this one. I'm looking at this on Ground News, an awesome website and app that combines related news from all over the world and political spectrum into one place. You can check them out by going to ground.news/RGE or just click the link in the description below. Ground News has been an excellent tool for my everyday research when I'm prepping the show, and I think it will be for you too. Let me show you how it works. Here you can see over 10 sources are covering this story, and that more coverage is coming from the left and the center than on the right, which makes sense. We can also see the difference in the headlines, with outlets like CNN repeating Garland's claims while the right calls him out. But not all stories are equal. Using their blind spot feed helps you identify what the media is and isn't covering on either side of the political spectrum and helps you catch stories that you may be missing. Ground News is amazing because it helps you see what friends and family with opposing views are seeing, and with the upcoming 2024 elections, this will be very important. It's super easy to get set up. Just go to ground.news/RGE or click the link in the video description below. If you sign up through my link, you'll get 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use to get unlimited access to all their features. I think Ground News is doing important work, and I hope you'll check them out. Visit ground.news/RGE. Now, let's get into Jack Smith's filing. So we saw how his team and how the FBI rigged the prosecution and rigged the photos. Now let's go into what Jack submitted, because he is there in day 3 of the court proceeding in Florida. Julie Kelly and CNN were in the courtroom reporting on how this went down. The open questions are, is Jack Smith lawfully appointed? Does Jack Smith have lawful money? And is the existence of this case allowed to continue, or should it be dismissed as a consequence of those violations? So let's talk about what Jack submitted. Here is his filing. You see, here he wrote this in response to Trump's motion to dismiss, and they say, Trump here does not offer any evidence where the spoliation of evidence is going to matter. In the 4 decades since the Supreme Court, the 11th Circuit has never found that the destruction of evidence matters at all. They say Trump, look, personally, okay, so this is the point. If Trump personally chose to keep these documents, they have to prove that. What was the decision that he made in order to do that? He personally made the decision to keep some of the nation's most highly guarded secrets in cardboard boxes, and with a collection of other keepsakes, Christmas ornaments, magazines, clothing, photographs, okay, all of it is non-material, just like the other documents. Now, at the end of the presidency, he took his cluttered collection of keepsakes to Mar-a-Lago. You know what's interesting too? Just check this out. Look at this. Defendant Trump. Now, then they just go on into Trump. See how that happened? You don't normally see that unless you've got some whiny, kind of bitchy prosecutors. I wonder who this is writing this, because he just goes right into Trump, right? He's like very upset with Trump. So he's very agitated. Who could it be? It's Jay, yeah. Basically what we figured. And Jay Bratt writes a lot of this stuff, but normally you call the defendant a defendant and you don't turn it over to Trump, right? This is pejorative when it's used by Bratt. So at the end of his presidency, he took his cluttered collection of keepsakes. I'd like to see what Jay Bratt's house looks like. His personal residence and social club, where the boxes traveled from one readily accessible location to another, a public ballroom, an office space, a bathroom, a basement storage room, right? So the point is, like, those cover sheets were not on there, so nobody even knew that they were classified or a problem. After they landed in stacks in the storage room, several boxes fell and splayed their contents on the floor. Now, against this backdrop of the hazard manner in which Trump chose to maintain his boxes, he now claims that the precise order of the items within the boxes and where they left them was critical to his defense. As I've already articulated, it is absolutely critical. When were the things added? What was the chronology? Jay, dummy, you just admitted that he personally ordered this stuff to happen. So did he personally fill those boxes with classified documents? And with those cover sheets on there, he said, oh, wow, these are dangerous. I can't wait to take them. And what's more, that the FBI agents executing the search warrant should have known that. But he says, but neither the law nor the facts provide any basis. And to the contrary, the FBI agents who conducted the search, they did so professionally and thoroughly and carefully under challenging circumstances where they had authority to kill him, given the cluttered state of the boxes and the high volume of highly classified documents that Trump had retained, which they charged him for what, 34? Substantial volume, 34 documents, which are allegedly classified. We still have no idea what they are. Importantly, Jay says at every stage, the agents have maintained the integrity, no, you have not, of each container in which the evidence was found. That is box-to-box integrity, not within it. As a result, Trump in fact, has all of the evidence that he needs to make the arguments. For example, he suggests for the first time that he may wish to argue the classified documents were buried in the boxes and hard to see. Yeah, chronology. Or that the placement near dated items shows that they were placed long ago, may have been forgotten. Exactly, time. But because the overall contents of the box have not changed, Trump can argue both of those things and everything he needs to do so. Nothing has been lost, much less destroyed, and there's been no bad faith. Yes, there has, Jay. We don't take your word for that. So you've already manipulated the evidence. So he doesn't have everything he needs to do that. He can't talk about the sequencing of the documents, literally. He can say the sequence is broken, and I guess if you admit, unless that's a good defense, that somebody else added the documents before Trump had any personal knowledge of what was going in and out of those documents, boxes, sounds like a good defense to me. So no, now these defenses that Trump now puts forth can be added to the list of other evolving, unsupported explanations for his possession of classified documents. Over the many months, Trump has claimed that he deliberately declassified documents, which I don't think he has to even do, personally. I think if you look at the opinions clause under the presidential powers, it's not a well-litigated part of the Constitution, but it says that the executive under the presidency has the power to the opinions of his executives in writing. It's in the Constitution. So what does he need to declassify? They're his. Did it come from executive branch agencies? Yeah, it did. Great, they're his. So the documents that the FBI planted them, which I think is also very plausible given the fact that they've created other cases against Trump. They created a Steele dossier and made up evidence for that, and that he intentionally selected and sent the documents as his personal records, again, which he's ripe to do under the Presidential Records Act. Now, these explanations have nothing to do with the precise order of the items within the box, but there are other explanations that you didn't delineate. So, okay. And this confirmed by the fact that in the year that has passed since the indictment, Trump's counsel have not once asked to review the boxes themselves. Okay. They don't have to do their investigation according to your standards. Trump did not assert any arguments stemming from the precise order of the documents until filing this motion. You didn't tell him, jerks, and that its importance should have been manifest to the FBI. Yet you don't manipulate the evidence. The court should see Trump's newly invented explanations for what they are. Unfounded accusations, blah, blah, blah. So here's what he says. Now, here's some background. According to several personnel who work closely with Trump at the White House, Trump routinely used cardboard boxes, right? So these are going to be their witnesses. Okay, Trump used cardboard boxes and he put stuff in there. So that's how Trump personally knew, right? Think about what they present at trial. What did you see? I work for Trump. Regular boxes, clippings, magazines, so he would just put stuff in there. He did this regularly? Yeah. And then what did he do with the boxes? Okay. So Trump clearly knew about what was in the boxes. Trump's detailed familiarity with the contents prompted some of the staff to call them the, quote, beautiful mind boxes, referring to the film about the mathematician John Nash. It's like Trump just, I don't know, he just clips all this stuff. It's his beautiful mind. He just throws them in the boxes. At the end of the presidency, these boxes that he accumulated and stored in his bedroom, so he knew everything that was in there, and elsewhere in the White House, were shipped to Mar-a-Lago, as were numerous other boxes that were packed in connection. Okay, who packed them? Did Trump? As were numerous other boxes that were packed in connection with the move out of the White House. Now, according to staff who were involved in the packing of those boxes for the move, Trump was personally involved in the packing process. Great. So when were the classified documents added to the boxes? And did Trump look at every single document that went into every box? They're going to have to show that. The contents of the boxes shifted. They also admit this. So they are admitting the boxes were moving around. Trump personally looked at every document that went in there. Give me a break. This is like, come on. So they say that they contain many small loose materials. Items within them necessarily shifted around anytime they move. Not necessarily. That's from you. You don't have to necessarily move anything. Nada and Trump employee 2 brought several boxes to Trump's residence for him to review. Okay, in the midst of that process, Nada found at least 4 boxes in the storage room that had fallen with their contents on the floor. Nada texted Trump, I opened the door, found this, attached a photo. Trump employee replied, oh no, I'm sorry, POTUS had my phone. One of those boxes spilled contained a classified record the FBI recovered in the storage room. Okay, that's in the indictment. Did it have a cover sheet on it? Don't know. Also, here's another one. 8 months after that, another photo, A35, so they're walking us through the boxes. Before that, 15 boxes, Trump turned back over to the archives because they were searching for them. Then Nada moved 64 boxes. So you're telling Trump was in there at the White House packing 64 boxes. On May 30th, the following text exchange took place between Nada and a Trump family member. Trump family member, good afternoon, Walt. Happy Memorial Day. What a nice person. I saw you put boxes to POTUS's room. Just FYI, I will tell him as well. Not sure how many he wants to take on Friday on the plane. We will not have room for them. Plane will be full with luggage. Thank you. So tell Trump don't take his boxes. Good afternoon, ma'am. Smiley face. Thank you so much. I think he wanted to pick from them. I don't imagine him wanting to take the boxes. He told me to put them in the room and he was going to talk to you about them. So again, Trump is going through some other boxes. What boxes? I don't know. On June 2nd, they moved 30 more boxes into the residence and I reviewed more boxes. On June 2nd, Trump attorney 1 reviewed the boxes in the storage room from Trump's residence into the storage room. So then reviewed some other boxes. Were they the same boxes? In other words, did Trump even look at classified documents or was this a different box? Himself searching documents with classification marking. So then on June 2nd, some other boxes are back in the storage room. And this is kind of a non sequitur here. So in other words, boxes left Trump's room back to the storage room. Trump attorney 1 goes in. Did he review the boxes that came from Trump's room or just other boxes in the storage room? The plan to seize the boxes, they say on August 5th, the government obtained a search warrant to search Mar-a-Lago and seize documents, which they did. As described in the search warrant affidavit that authorized deadly force, the FBI planned to use as part of the search protocol a filter team, whose purpose was to search the premises and identify any attorney-client privilege material. On August 7th, the day before the search, the DOJ attorney sent a memo to the FBI explaining the filter team. Members of the filter team received a briefing and a copy of the memo. According to the instructions, if the filter team came across any privileged materials, the entire box holding those materials would be separated and segregated, then sent over to filter agents in Washington. Thus, the warrant and the protocol contemplated 2 scenarios in which an entire box would be seized. But what if a box had both privileged material and classified? Then they gave us a memo and an instruction there, but we never found that, so we didn't have to worry about that. So then, on August 8th, 8:59, FBI team entered the Mar-a-Lago premises. This is from Jay Bratt, the Florida Oompa Loompa, writing. At approximately 9:14 a.m., DOJ attorney Bratt, he's writing about himself, he attempted to unsuccessfully reach Trump attorneys 1 by phone. So he calls it 9:14. He's like, oh man, they didn't answer. We can't wait to raid. At approximately 9:36 a.m., Bratt then spoke with Trump attorney 1. And at 9:55 a.m., the CCTV servers were turned off to prevent recording. Government now admits they turned off the Mar-a-Lago cameras at the request of the FBI out of concern for agent safety. Why would agents feel unsafe at Mar-a-Lago? That's curious. It should have just been a standard raid where they would never have to engage in use of force. Now, at 10:20, the cameras came back on. How come they did that? At 10:20 a.m., they resumed recording at the direction of Trump's attorneys, which feels a little bit off keister to me, doesn't that? So is suddenly agent safety is now back in play? Trump's attorneys are like, we're not going to shoot you, I guess, or something. So you don't need to shoot us or something. Oh, okay. We can turn the cameras back on. So why did we have 25 minutes of missing time from 9:55 to 10:20 a.m.? The FBI, when they were raiding the residence, turned off the cameras for 25 minutes for officer agent safety. And then once the attorneys came in and said, no, you're not doing that, they turned them back on. Apparently the agents were safe, I guess. They talked to their mommy. So why'd they do that? Now, but during the time the recording function was off, the cameras continued to display a live feed. And some Trump organizations, some of them who had access to the network, monitored it live, which we don't give a crap about. That's great. Why'd they turn off the recording? And why is that justification to protect agents, to turn off the cameras? Shouldn't they have the cameras on to protect them against people like me saying that they planted documents in those 25 minutes? Wouldn't it be nice to have total recordings to say there's no evidence of this at all? You didn't plant documents. Your own cameras show you that. So it seems like agent safety might have been better served by having the recordings, but they turned them off because that's when they were planting documents. So then they turned them back on and they said, it doesn't matter that we turned them off because other people, probably 2 security people sitting around just like, oh yeah, I guess the feds are here, I guess. What's going on? At approximately 10:33 a.m., the FBI initiated the search. Yeah, after the cameras were back on. Give me a freaking break. Now, as discussed below, the boxes were delivered to Washington. That's from a prior section. Now, the government has produced in discovery the evidence that the reason for the FBI's request that the recording be turned off was a concern for agent safety. Why? I thought this was going to be the most safe and secure raid. There was no possibility of violence or deadly force at all. So what are the agents going to be attacked by? Trump personnel were aware of it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make it legitimate because they were aware of it. Did they approve of it? The CCTV cameras continue to broadcast live while recording was suspended. Again, is it recorded? Then we can't see it. And in fact, the CCTV was recording again at Trump Organization's attorney's request well before the search began. Yeah, right. Before your official search began. We didn't start actually looking for things until the cameras were back on. So what was happening in those 25 minutes? And where were the FBI agents at that time? So accordingly, Trump's suggestion, says Baratt, he's whining right here. Okay, they got busted and he knows this. The cameras don't mean anything. Okay, this is all called cope. He's trying to cope here and explain away their planting of documents. That the FBI's efforts to turn off the CCTV during the search is relevant to the application of the good faith doctrine. They say it's disingenuous and it's at worst deliberately misleading. No, you're being misleading. You turn the cameras off for a fake reason about agent safety for 25 minutes and then turn them back on and then suddenly began searching. And you want us to just paper over all that? No thanks. So 4 filter team agents were involved in reviewing the boxes in the storage room. FBI special agents 5, 13, 17, and 36. 41 entered the storage room. At that point, photographer took pictures. After the photos were taken, the evidence response team labeled a bunch of stuff. It went in, looked at other boxes. Once agents saw the state in which Trump kept his boxes, it's his fault. It became apparent, here they say, that maintaining the exact order of all the documents was nigh impossible. We're government prosecutors. We can't figure this out. It's like a box of stuff in there. Given the variety of the documents, sizes, newspapers, photographs, magazines, loose cards, notes, envelopes, and the presence of other non-documentary items like clothing, framed pictures, other keepsakes. Now, despite that, the agents did the best they could under the circumstances. So in keeping with the protocol, when any of the filter team agents came across a potentially privileged document in a box, the entire box was set aside. At no point did they come across commingled boxes. It was not the filter team's responsibilities to locate classified documents, and so they did what they were supposed to do. Now, they set aside 6 boxes, and then they cleared a bunch of boxes, and they shipped those out. So then they went and searched Trump's residence and the various bathrooms, and they returned all the boxes, but again, here they admitted again. They were careful to return all items to the box after reviewing them, but they did not maintain the order of the items. Again, manipulated that box as well. They transferred stuff over to Washington. The filter agents completed their privilege review. They discovered additional documents. Neither of those documents are charged. So some classified documents were not charged. So they completed their more thorough privilege review. Agents discovered 2 additional documents with classification markings inside, but neither of those were charged. So again, some of these things were charged, some of them were not. Now, several weeks later, the FBI used an outside vendor to scan the contents of the boxes. FBI agents were present for the scanning process. The boxes were already manipulated. Okay, so they've already been disturbed by the FBI. Scanning personnel, hey, just scan all the documents in the order they appear in the box. Prior to initiating the scanning process, the FBI replaced the initial placeholder sheets. So there's an initial placeholder sheet with classification cover sheets at the appropriate level. So now, okay, we have a placeholder. So they pull out the Apple Applebee's menu, they put in another Applebee's placeholder. So then they take out the Applebee's placeholder and they label that. They say this is a restaurant menu. So now it's classified Applebee's. So that's red cover, dangerous. So we now cover that, say this is very dangerous, and we label it at the appropriate level. And there's a handwritten notation of the FBI's alphabetical index code, which are called the new placeholder sheet. They take the original document out, they put a placeholder in, then they take that document out, they put another document in. So you see we're now basically 2 steps removed from the original document. Now, what did the FBI do this for? Well, they did this to avoid providing any classified information to uncleared parties. But when making these substitutions, the FBI was able, with one exception that's not even relevant here, to ascertain the classified document to which the original placeholder would correspond, and they simply swap on the new placeholder sheet in for the initial placeholder sheet in the same spot. So they didn't mess that up, is what they say. Now, here there is one problem, one exception. The initial placeholder sheet that were put in box A15, unlike most of the others, but not all, included only the classification level and the number of pages. Because of the large number of documents with classification markings in box A15, which were found in a binder, it was not possible for the FBI to determine from the initial placeholder sheets which removed documents correspond to which classified documents. So in this instance, therefore, the FBI left the initial handwritten placeholder sheets within the binder to denote the places within the binder where the documents with classification markings. So in making the substitutions, they, again, made a mistake. Let them make their analysis and see what Jay Bratt is whining about. He says, all right, we took a lot of steps here. We labeled each and every box, and we were able to identify a bunch of stuff, okay? We preserved the box. We didn't do anything with bad faith. Everything we did here was intended to preserve the evidence, and we did our very best. The fact that we just manipulated evidence, we discombobulated the chronology of multiple documents, and that we showed up and we found it was impossible to preserve them, so we just didn't, willfully destroying the defense an opportunity to defend themselves. And in short, they say the search was conducted perfectly professionally, efficiently, and respectfully. And so Trump proffers no evidence of bad faith, and so leave us alone. Signed by Jay Bratt, the Florida Oompa Loompa, writing on behalf of Jack Smith, the special counsel. And again, Trump. Jay Bratt, very upset about what happened. And so let's see what went down in court. We know that Julie Kelly was there. Jay Bratt was in court. Don't know if Jack Smith was there. We'll see. But Julie Kelly rounds out the reporting. She was there in Florida, explaining that Judge Cannon was in a mood today. She pushed back hard at the arguments by Trump's attorney, Emil Beauvais, that the FBI affidavit seeking the warrant was misleading and that the search was too broad. She said, what are you talking about? They're allowed to search whatever they want. They're the DOJ. This is the government, okay? They are just with total power. So Emil Beauvais was like, what? She appeared to indicate at the end of the hearing that she would not grant the motion to suppress the Mar-a-Lago evidence, saying she believed that the affidavit was particular enough. That was signed by Judge Reinhardt. She did, however, confront David Harbach, which is Jack Smith's prosecutor, about FBI agents searching the bedrooms of Melania and Barron. She says, was there probable cause to believe that there were classified documents in the bedroom of a child, you disgusting freaks? She didn't say that part, I did. That's what she was thinking, though. Why did you have to go into Barron's bedroom, you FBI pervert? Why did you need to go into Melania's closet and take pictures of her underwear, freak shows? Harbach says, well, Your Honor, the DOJ had evidence that boxes were moved all over Mar-a-Lago and all over the residence. Did you have any evidence, whether it was direct or indirect, that there were boxes being moved to the child's room, David? No, we don't. But, Your Honor, it would have been irresponsible for agents not to search their rooms. We're dealing with criminal documents, and so Melania and Barron need to be investigated too. And there was nothing egregious about it. We were just taking pictures. I wonder if David would like FBI agents to take pictures of his wife and his kids' rooms. Probably not. Harbach, again, had a bit of a temper tantrum at the end of the hearing. He asked to give a brief rebuttal to Emil Beauvais' closing comments. Cannon said, yeah, you have 30 seconds, moron, go. One day after admitting the special counsel has a permanent, indefinite source of tax dollars to fund both prosecutions, Harbach said, Your Honor, and also, these are unfair proceedings against us. Why do you have to allow Trump's team to hijack the hearing with repeated attempts to import false allegations into this case about the raid? Our agents are here doing a great job. Cannon said, hey, shut up. Basically saying, no one's hijacking anything, moron. The hearing's over. We're done. My guess, says Julie, says there's going to be a delay of at least a few weeks until the next hearing. Holiday next week, July 4th. We're going to be celebrating that. Then Trump is set to be sentenced on the 11th in New York, then the GOP convention. Cannon's very mindful of everyone's schedule, making sure the defense can participate. Looks like she'll deny this motion, but two biggies on the horizon. prison. Also collusion between NARA, DOJ, and the White House, and the motion to dismiss, which we just read through with Jack Smith. And so we're going to keep our attention on this one. Of course, as always, Florida is a big one, and we're waiting for the Supreme Court to talk about immunity, which may hit this as well. But as it stands, we're going to see what Trump says his reply to Jack Smith's response here today. And more evidence continues to come out that they manipulated the evidence. Not only did they put illegal cover sheets, or let's say manipulative cover sheets, on their documents before they published those to the media to manipulate what they wanted the public to think about what Trump was doing. Did he intentionally take these classified documents, or were these just thrown at the bottom of boxes somewhere? We're going to continue to cover it. Thank you for subscribing as we do. We also got some great links down in the description below. If you're looking for some extra content talking about the election and political affairs, we do those on our members only streams. We'd love to have you join us on YouTube or on Locals, because we got some great stuff coming up. In our next segment, we're jumping over to talk about Fani Willis and the appeal in Georgia. So we'll be looking forward to seeing you over there and back here on the next one.